Wednesday. That's right. We're barreling toward Friday. So glad you guys could join us. Got an absolutely packed show for you today, including an SEC wide receiver coach, Missouri wide receiver coach Jake Peeler is going to join us. Excited to talk with him. But first, we got an update on the Drake-Kendrick beef.
We have an update.
Apparently, I was told, all right, that a security guard one of Drake's security guards was shot last night, non-life-threatening injuries.
Oh, of course.
All right. Now, a couple things. One, I wonder if they listened to the show and they heard us say, hey, we think this is set up.
No, like, we have to do this now.
And they're like, no, we got to try and do something to make it sound like it's not. Like, is this a I need you to shoot me in the foot?
You got to take one in the foot.
This is, you got to go dumb.
You got to take one in the foot here. This is like the end of Scream.
Just to like, hey, look, this beef's real. I still think it's a set. Until, like, and again, obviously hope the guy's okay. And, we joke about it, whatever, but still, part of me thinks they were like, all right, they're on to us. They're like, all right, listen, Daryl.
Cat's out of the bag.
First off, welcome to work. You've been asking for a promotion for 6 months. All right? What if you just take one, like, next to the shin? We graze the shin. All right? Again, they said he was seen fleeing. Skylar, back there, he was seen fleeing the scene, you said? And they didn't catch him.
With a limp, at least?
They didn't catch him at all.
Fake a limp?
A vehicle.
Yeah, he just got away. He just barely got away.
That's why you listen to Crane and Company, you're going to be onto all the hip news.
That's exactly, literally.
Yeah.
I mean, we got more important things going on here. Chuck E. Cheese is developing a game show where adults compete in giant versions of the games. I mean, you want to talk about some real news.
CIA sting operation. They're trying to catch the pedos.
You think so?
Yeah, 100%.
Says they're in development with magical elves.
Chris Hansen?
With magical elves.
Yeah, now it's 100% a CIA sting operation. I'm glad they're doing it.
The format will feature standalone comedic physical challenges where duos of quote-unquote big kids, a.k.a. adults, will compete over supersized arcade games, including pinball, air hockey, alley roller, and the human claw.
The claw!
This is like those things when they're trying
the claw!
When they're trying to catch the fathers that haven't paid child support. So they send them a letter and they're like, hey, come here, you've won a truck. Or like, you won tickets to the Iron Bowl. And then they show up and arrest them.
Is that what this is?
This
is a sting
operation?
What
it sounds like to me.
You just go to Chuck E. Cheese and play a game called whoever is the last one molested wins.
See,
it's too early. Now you messed it up.
Those guys were just wanting to have fun with us at Chuck E. Cheese.
The playing game of why is the 55-year-old man hiding in the ball pit?
Yeah, why is he looking at me sweating and eating pizza?
The Celtics and Thunder each win big in their opening games of round 2. We break down our top 5 new quarterbacks in college football for the 2024 season. And Missouri wide receiver coach Jacob Peeler joins us to preview the Tigers and talk a little ball. I'm Jake Crane, and we're winning on a Wednesday here at Crane & Company. Now, after what was an incredibly heavy quarterback draft class that just left, well, that means there's some new guys in big-time spots that'll be starting for the first time ever. So we decided to rank our top 5 new starting quarterbacks. Now, before we get too deep into this, and you can see my graphic on the screen, I do want to set a few parameters. This is not, hey, you were a starter at one school and then transferred to another school and are starting now. So Dylan Gabriel, for example, started at Oklahoma, goes to Oregon, and now he's going to be a starter. These are guys that have never started the season as the quarterback. So if you played in the bowl game last year and you started, you're eligible to be on this list. So I want to set a couple parameters, but here are mine, and we want to know yours. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, all those buttons, whatever. Number 1, and I think this is going to be unanimous amongst all of us, Garrett Nussmeier at LSU. For obvious reasons. He has a bunch of experience, but he's never been the guy going in to the year. We know Jaden Daniels was just taken number 3 overall. So Garrett, a lot of experience, a lot of talent. This LSU offense think they're going to be explosive again in a little bit of a different way. It's too much to ask them to recreate what happened last year with, Brian Thomas and Malik Neighbors and obviously Jaden at quarterback. But give me Garrett Nussmeier as my number one new starter. Number 2, all right, young guy, Nico Lamalieva at Tennessee. I think this kid is going to be a dynamite player. I would not be shocked if he wins a Heisman Trophy while he was at Tennessee. I think he has that much upside. He's long. He's nuanced as a thrower. He's only going to get better. There's going to be ups and downs, but in Josh Heupel's system, I think he's going to be able to figure it out and operate at a very high level. A guy, David, that can go laterally as a tall guy really well, which is really rare to see. Number 3, new starter at Kansas State, Avery Johnson. Now, I am assuming he is going to be a better thrower of the ball than some people think, but in the system that Kleiman runs at Kansas State, his ability to run, to get downhill, which is going to obviously open up, the passing game. They're going to try and run the ball, play action, do things like that. I think Avery's going to be really effective. Another guy that's longer that can move. Number 4, Dylan Raiola at Nebraska. Again, the spring game, that's fantastic. He looked good. This dude has some moxie about him. I like the way he handles his business, and I don't think the moment is going to be too big. He's a guy I think Nebraska fans are going to look back on 10, 12 years from now and be like, this is when the turnaround started. Not saying they're going to go on some dynastical run, but I think they're going to get out of the cellar, and this is Matt Rule's kind of catalyst to get there. He's a little bit goofy in the way he goes about things, which makes him tough to defend. He can make all the throws off platform, in the pocket, outside the pocket. There will be ups and downs, but I'm excited to watch him. And then number 5, and I think this is the most underrated new starter. He just got named the starter by Shane Beamer. Lenoris Sellers, all right, at South Carolina. And people make fun of the goggles. I'm telling you right now, don't piss this guy off. All right, guys with goggles, it's like they got a little something extra to prove. All right, Lenoris Sellers, he's big. He can make all the throws. And I think he's going to be a guy similar to Dylan Raiola that it's going to use to elevate Shane Beamer to a place where, South Carolina fans are expecting him to be at sooner rather than later. They got to get better up front. That's the biggest thing. But Lenoris has a chance, I think, to become a dominant player down the road. He's got some experience. I think he's 4 for 4 as a passer against like Furman, Kentucky, Vanderbilt. I know it's not the best competition, but watching him operate, I think he's got some dog in him for real. So give me Garrett Nussmeier 1, Nico 2, Avery 3, Dylan 4, and Lenoris 5. David, who do you
love that? Bring up that list right there. All right, here's my top 5 young starting quarterbacks for 2024. Garrett Nussmeier has earned the top spot on this list. I mean, how often do you get a guy who is at a blue blood Power 5 program who's sat behind as a backup for 3 straight seasons and is now going to take over the starting job? That used to be the standard. Now that's kind of the anomaly. Plenty of game experience. He's played in 17 games, filled in big moments as well. And just keep in mind, like Jaden Daniels, I thought was a really good quarterback at Arizona State. I didn't think he'd come over to LSU and do the things he did last year. Joe Burrow in 2018, really good quarterback. Look what he did in 2019. Garrett Nussmeier is at a place where you can break through and there really is no ceiling when you're the starting quarterback with the type of weapons they have at LSU. Then after that, it's more young guys for me. And keep in mind here, I want everyone listening to understand, it's not just about the skill sets that these quarterbacks bring, but also the systems that they're in, the coaches they're going to be playing for, how they're going to get developed. So number 2, I do have Nico Lamalieva as well at Tennessee. I think he has an opportunity to shine in Josh Heupel's system. We got a little sample size in the bowl game this past year. He can run it. He can throw it. I don't think he's going to come in and look like Cam Newton this next season, but he has all the potential to really have a breakout starting campaign here. Number 3 for me, Aiden Childs coming over. This was the number 2 most sought after quarterback in the portal after Cam Ward this past season. Follows Jonathan Smith over to Michigan State from Oregon State. I watched his tape again yesterday. I think the kid is incredible. Now, how good is Michigan State going to be this season? That's the question. That I don't know, but Coach Smith, quarterback developer, quarterback guru, former quarterback coach. I think Aiden Childs is in a really good situation, and Michigan State has themselves a really solid starting quarterback. Number 4, Miller Moss at Southern California. Yeah. Again, people might be asking themselves, well, who is Miller Moss? Well, remember the 6 touchdowns he threw in the bowl game this past year? And who's coaching him? Lincoln Riley, okay? How many number 1 picks has this guy had at the quarterback position? He's going to get put in great spots. And then number 5, I also have Dylan Raiola on this list. I just think it's so cool that Nebraska, whose fan base is as rabid and as passionate as any fan base in the country, who's waited nearly 30 years to return to the pinnacle of college football, now has a legacy guy who I think is going to be the starting quarterback for them. I mean, his father played at Nebraska. His uncle, I believe, played at Nebraska. Now you're going to have a guy who's going to come in, and I think, with a roster that is in a much better spot than it has been the last 5-8 seasons that we've seen. So I think Dylan Raiola is going to have a great opportunity to win the starting job right off the bat here, and those are my top 5 quarterbacks to watch.
Yeah, you bring up a great point, Blaine. Before you do the personnel around you, so I had Miller Moss 6. That was probably the toughest decision I had to make. Was Lenoris Sellers or Miller Moss. I'm interested to see Miller going into this year. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Stetson Bennett with the way that he's built. He's not the biggest guy, kind of a little bit underrated as a runner. It was hard for me not to put him on there. And then, you have Aiden. I had Aiden 7 as well.
Really?
Michigan State around him.
Where'd you have Jackson Arnold?
Say it again. I had Jackson Arnold 8. I had Jackson Arnold.
I had Malik Murphy 6.
Yeah, it's, again, Malik Murphy at Duke. That's another interesting one.
Yeah,
Blaine, what do you got?
Mine, Jackson Arnold, was at 6, but it's going to sound like I'm beating a dead horse here, but a lot of similarities with both of our lists. Obviously, I don't know how you don't pick the Nuts Bus as your first option. You see what he has from an arm talent. I love his awareness in the pocket. He can run, but he's obviously not Jane Daniels. But they're going to, new coordinator, new receivers, it's not going to help him as a quarterback, but I do think he's going to fall in there and be okay. And this guy right here, I'm telling you, all right, I know the bowl game they played against was Iowa. They won 35-0. But if you watch a guy and who right now, probably the biggest spark, can drop the gaudiest numbers, I think it's Nico.
I think it is too.
From a height standpoint, he's a big kid, has a big arm. Question about passing coming in, but the Iowa game kind of calmed it down for me a little bit on that. He's going to make mistakes. I know that, but he can run. He can throw it. And Josh Heupel, I'm telling you, Josh Heupel knows how to get quarterbacks to the right place. I think they won 10 games last year, and I can't believe it because Joe Milton's garbage. He's garbage. All right, now, I know Nico didn't start through the season, but I'm telling you right now, Nico, to me, is probably a sleeper for Heisman. I really think he can put up that gaudy numbers. I do think they can win enough games. Then this guy right here, I signed Uiagalelei for Nebraska. Dylan Raiola, the voice from the outer world, the man who's going to come save the day. And
the boy who lived?
The boy who lived comes back to live again. But it's fun. Nebraska right now, it's like a volcano, all right before it erupts. And it's just wait for that one tourist to throw a rock in it.
Yeah.
All right? Dylan Raiola can be that guy for Nebraska, and he doesn't have to come out and be great. He doesn't. He just has to win games. If you look at Nebraska, we had J.D. Pickell on the other day. He talked about the starters that were coming back on defense, how good of a defense that was, and the reason they lost most of their games was quarterback, and that schedule was favored for Nebraska. So like this, Miller Moss, he doesn't play for Kansas State. He plays for USC. Your name's Miller Moss. Obviously, you have a hot girlfriend, and you can probably throw the pill around.
For sure.
And the last one, Lenoris Sellers, too. He won the job. I think he's going to be a good player. This is huge for Shane Beamer. Shane Beamer needs a good year. Because you had Spencer Rattler, I think it's going to be an underrated pick in the draft. You couldn't get anything done because you don't have any offensive lineman depth. I know it's just injuries everywhere, but I think Lenoris will do a good job for Shane this year.
No, and there's some similarities on the list, a little bit different. We want to know what you think. Who should be in that top 5? Who's your top 5? We're going to get to the Booster Club. Remember, if you donate, it will get read if it's on topic. If not, we'll read it at the end of the show. The phone line's open 7:15 a.m. Central. We want to hear from you. New callers will get pushed to the top unless we have a Pongo alert or Voltar wants to talk trash to David, which I think is one of the funniest things that goes on here. But first,
we're not getting to Voltar.
Before we get to the Booster Club, we did a movie, Lady Ballers. We lost some weight. We got healthier to be able, because you're going to be on, we're on camera every day, but the movie camera kind of flattens you out, right? It's like they say, the camera adds 10 pounds. Why does it look like you ate 10 cameras? But one of the ways we were able to lose that weight as fast as we did and improve our health overall was because we knew the way our metabolism was working. And that's where Lumen comes in. If you want to prioritize your health, it's a commitment to a better quality of life. And that's why we're excited that Lumen has officially jumped on to sponsor the show. It's the world's first handheld metabolic coach. All right, so it's a device that measures your metabolism through your breath. It's not a vape, Blaine. It measures your metabolism through your breath. I'm just telling you. And all you have to do is breathe into your Lumen first thing in the morning, and you'll know what's going on with your metabolism, whether you're burning mostly fats or carbs. And they take your unique metabolic data, and it crafts a personalized nutrition plan, all right, for that day. And it's tailored to your body's needs and goals. I mean, this is an incredible product. Like, it gives you a baseline to look. You're not just guessing, right? You're not just, oh, I got on the scale, I gained 2 pounds, but I did all this. I lost 2 pounds, but I really didn't do anything. This helps set up a plan for you to get healthier, and that's what we need more than anything today. So if you want to take the next step in improving your health, go to lumen.me and use the code BOOSTER to get $100 off your Lumen. That's LUMEN.me, M-E, and use the code BOOSTER at checkout for that $100 off. Thank you, Lumen, for sponsoring this episode. We're super excited for you to hop on board. We want everybody to be healthy so we can all enjoy sports together. Whether you got kids, grandkids, you want to be around, whether you're just trying to get back in shape, it is a fantastic product.
Definitely not a vape.
Man.
Definitely not a vape.
Not a vape.
And it comes in a pretty cool box.
It's like I'm opening an iPhone here.
Oh, dude.
I know. How about that? Pretty cool. Breathe in and breathe better. All right, let's get to the Booster Club.
Booster Club, what's up, Chad? Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. If you donate, it's on topic. It will get read. Unless your trials are set, then wait till the end of the show. We're going to start off with a $10 donation from Jacob Spencer. Lenore Sellers threw for 2,900 yards, 45 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions, and ran for 1,300 yards. Senior year of high school, South Florence High School legend. Do you think he has a big year this year?
So I again, there's always nuance in pretty much everything when we're discussing college football and circumstance. But with Lenore Sellers, all right, and this is the beautiful thing about football and why I think it's the greatest sport that God put on this earth, at least the greatest team sport that God put on this earth, because Lenore, you can't do it by yourself at the SEC level, right? In high school, some guys, like I'm sure Lenoris was probably better and bigger and more athletic than pretty much everyone he played. That's not going to be the case at South Carolina in the SEC. But this guy has immense talent, and if around him, and especially up front, they give him time, right? And the guys on the outside are able to make the routine catches routine and give him a little bit of space. Lenore Sellers down the road can be as good as anybody that we see in this conference, and in the SEC, that means in the country. I'm not saying he's going to be the greatest quarterback ever or that he's Cam Newton, but when you watch him, especially in the big moments, this guy shows up. Spring game, right? Big moment. Nobody's been named the starter yet. What does he do? He goes out and wins the MVP. So if South Carolina up front on that offensive line can be worth a damn and run the ball and give this man some help, you've got a real one at quarterback for at least the next 2 years. I think this guy is a future NFL player. I think he's got a lot of moxie about him. But again, you're going to have ups and downs, right? If for some reason it doesn't go great early, don't give up on him. I'm just telling you, South Carolina and Shane Beamer, they got a good one, they got a real one, but most importantly, they got a clutch one. And don't be surprised if this dude comes out of nowhere and people start looking around saying, from the West Coast all the way to the Northwest or the Northeast, saying, who the hell is Lenore Sellers, the goggled, monster that he is? Because I've seen people making fun of that on social media. Y'all, number one, y'all wouldn't say that to his face, I guarantee you. And number two, I'm telling you, don't piss this man off. Don't piss it. He will ruin your fall. He will ruin your fall in a second. That's how talented.
I hope he can run, because I just watched Spencer Rattler run for his life for a time.
That's the biggest question.
All right, let's go to Hopeful Husker. What's up? Hashtag Ask Creighton Co. Even though Raiola will make mistakes, am I crazy to think that Nebraska could be a ranked team this year?
No.
Also, could they win 9 to 10 games? Hashtag Go Big Red.
Yeah, well, we broke down that schedule.
Yeah, we broke down the schedule. If you look, and again, I think the difference in Nebraska this year, because they lost so many close games in really brutal fashion last year, if you really go back and watch it. What Tony White did, the defensive coordinator for Nebraska, was one of the best coaching jobs in the country last year. The defense kept them in it. But Nebraska, it felt like every time they get close, they were just holding on and hoping that they could win the game. The teams that win close games, and we're going to have Coach Jacob Peeler from Missouri on here in a little bit. They won a lot of close games last year. Those are the ones that are applying the pressure when it's close. When it's close, they want the ball. Throw it to me. Run it at me. Those are the teams that win those games. This year, I think Nebraska is going to have that. It's not, oh, God, what's going to go wrong? Are we going to drop a snap? How are we going to blow this? It's how are we going to win this? Because it's belief, right? It's belief, 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 belief. That's what it comes down to. And you put belief with ability, and you put belief with aggression. I think that's what you get with Nebraska. And he will make mistakes. That's correct. But when you look at that schedule, I mean.
Very favorable. It's very favorable. And, for Dylan Raiola, and the same goes for a lot of these younger quarterbacks, like what I think you need to establish is a floor, like a baseline floor.
Yeah.
We're not going to perform under this at the quarterback position. I think that's what you're going to get with a guy like Dylan Raiola. In the biggest moments when we're in a tie ball game, our quarterback's not going to fumble the snap in shotgun multiple times so that we lose against Colorado. That's the kind of thing. Now, what is the ceiling? You never know with a guy. It depends on how he develops. Can he go in and compete with the Buckeyes with the roster they have? That may be a game that he's not ready for yet. Maybe he grows during that game. Or maybe you've gone and recruited a guy who can freak out. And you're talking about Lenoris Sellers, like guys like this. I'm also looking at Malik Murphy at Duke. What can the ceiling for some of these guys is just through the roof. Like maybe they can just overperform in some of those biggest moments. But the thing you want the most is to create a floor. Like, hey man, at least this guy is not going to lose us games at this position.
For sure. I want him with the ball. I want him in the clutch moment to make the play.
Let's go to Stephen Brooks, #AskTheFellas. I know Cade is a second-year starter, but you believe he can make the leap, not to be Trevor Lawrence, because he'll never be him, just to be able to get Clemson over the hump this year.
I've been high on Cade. Last year, I thought he was going to have a better year than he ended up having. I think he's got to be smarter with the ball, which with experience that comes. I'm gonna go a little different way. I think Garrett Riley's got to be better.
I was gonna mention him.
I think Garrett Riley put him in a lot of bad situations close to the goal line. I mean, at some point, again, there's and Garrett's a good coach. I'm not saying Garrett's a bad coach. He's got to stop getting so damn cute when you get close. Like, you don't put me in a situation where I can screw it up. Cade on the RPOs, the one that he kept on fourth down, they ended up not getting. At some point, you got to be able to line up and say, all right, here's what we're going to do. This is us. We're not going to try and trick you. We're going to run it through you. That's who Clemson is. Clemson is not a team that needs to go around and try and trick everybody and say, we're gonna just put on a magic act like it's the Prestige. No, Clemson, when they're at their best, they're like a rhinoceros running through a papier-mâché wall. That's who they really are. And you saw them kind of get back to that later in the year. But Garrett's got to be better as a play caller. And I think, Cade can run decently well. But he needs to be a guy that is in the pocket, that is operating through the pocket. The RPO stuff is good every now and then. But when you get to the goal line, you get into the red zone. Like, Garrett's got to stop getting
I thought they didn't do a terrible job, especially with Shipley as their back. He had a lot. I think he had the most touchdowns, 3 yards and in.
Could have had way more.
But I think a lot of it, you look at Clemson, what's fallen off? Since Trevor Lawrence has been there, it's skill position.
I agree with that.
Well, you had guys like T. Higgins and all these guys running around a receiver. Name me 2 quality receivers at Clemson while Cade Klubnik was there.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
It's hard, and that hurts your quarterback and your offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
I think Cade's going to benefit greatly from another offseason with Garrett Riley.
I hope so. And look, Garrett's a young coach too now, so he's going to grow. Hopefully, they grow together, and all of a sudden you got a garden full of work kicking your ass. All right, one more.
Let's go to a $10 donation from Knowles Never Forget. With all of Jake's hate towards DJ U, I'm starting to suspect that Kirk Herbstreit has gotten to him. How much is Herbie paying you, Jake?
It's just the truth. It's like, look, I'm sorry, man. It's just the truth. Everything we're saying about DJ Uiagalelei.
And
he can still be really good.
Well, and we don't hate DJ U.
I watched him throw 5 touchdowns against Wake Forest. Yeah, was it Wake Forest 2 years ago?
I heard the same thing from Tennessee fans about Joe Milton going into last year. And how did that work out for you? Again, if I wanted to, and I know, we're having some fun there a little bit, but if I want to make people happier, we want to make people happy, we'd sell ice cream for a living. That's not what my job is. My job is again, I don't know a lot of things. I really know 4 things, and they all start with F. But at the end of the day, DJ U has not shown me the ability to be a nuanced passer. I think you can ask people and fans everywhere he's been, even at Oregon State, where he didn't have a bad year. But I will say this. I think Mike Norvell understands who DJ is, and I think you're going to see a different style of offense a little bit this year than what you saw with Jordan Travis, which, by the way, you want to talk about underrated quarterbacks going into the NFL that nobody's really talking about? Jordan Travis is sneaky now. I hope he recovers from that injury. But there's a certain way you've got to operate with DJU. And I do feel like it limits you from a versatility and a balance standpoint, because if you're not ahead of the chains or you get behind, it's going to be very difficult for Florida State to come back, because not that DJ can't throw the ball, but he can't consistently be a big-time passer, at least up to this point. And David, you played the position at Michigan at a very high level. When you watch DJU, that's the one knock on him, right? And if you ask NFL scouts that, if you ask people that have watched him, not that he's a bad player, but he's not going to be an upper echelon passer that's going to go out here and break all these records unless guys are wide open.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also consistency is such a big part of playing the position.
Yeah.
And a lot of us, myself included, struggle with consistency. It's hard to be great all the time. Yeah. DJ Uiagalelei can make every throw in the world like a lot of us could. Joe Milton the same way, can make every throw in the world at times.
Yeah.
Man, you want to go out there when the game's on the line in the fourth quarter, you have to make the throw the one time you get the opportunity to make the throw. I would take him over Joe Milton, though.
I wonder how much Mike Norvell's going to run him.
Oh, a lot. I think a lot. And I do want to say this. We're not talking about the person. If you look at what DJU does off the field, he's a guy, I would love to just have him on my team. I think he is a first-round, top 10 pick as a person. But they don't just draft you on how good of a person you are, right? They draft you on all of it. So we're not talking about, as a human being, as a man. I think DJU is one of the best. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong and DJ figures it out because he deserves it. But again, what do we say on the show all the time? If you show me who you are enough, I'm going to start to believe you. But David, let's go ahead and get to a little bit of playoff update before we get to the get off my lawn and Coach Peeler on here.
Celtics over the Cavs, 120-95 in the first game of that round 2 series yesterday. Jaylen Brown had 32 points. Donovan Mitchell had 33, but it wasn't enough. And then in the other game, Thunder 117-95 over the Mavericks. Just 2 stompings right there.
For the Celtics, no Porzingis. And Jaylen Brown had a great game. Jason Tatum had a good game. To me, what's making the Celtics so scary right now is Derek White is on fire. On
25.
Fire. I think he's hit 23s in his last 3 games. I'm telling you right now, if that's happening and Pritchard, the little Witchard, is hitting the shots that he's hitting, you're not beating the Celtics. You're just not. The Thunder aren't beating them. The Nuggets aren't beating them. This team is horrifyingly scary right now. The only way they lost is because the Miami Heat had the greatest 3-point shooting game of their lives and hit 23 threes. But this Celtics team, they literally can beat you from multiple spots. And Jason Tatum had 18, and they scored what? Like 120? Mm-hmm. So what was the final score? I think I said the game was going to be 120-96.
It was 120-95.
Oh my God! I think on yesterday's show, I swear I thought I took the over, and I said this smells like a 120-96 game. We need to go back and look at that. That just hit me. But the Celtics are super dangerous, and I tell you what, the Thunder. I saw some stats yesterday. They're the youngest team ever in the NBA to be a number 1 seed. They're the youngest team ever in the NBA to win a playoff series, sweep a playoff series, and win 55-plus games. And when you look at Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I don't know if there's a guy that is better at drawing fouls in the NBA than him, with his ability to drive, and he shoots it a little funny, but he still shoots it well. I think the Thunder are the classic case of we're too young to understand what we're doing or to fear the moment. They're just out there beating people to sleep. I mean, even their head coach, they asked him yesterday, they're like, you're the best team in the NBA in the fourth quarter. How are you doing it? You know what he said, David? I've got no idea. I just hope we keep doing it. So I think this whole organization right now is just playing free. They're playing loose. They're winning in multiple ways. But the physicality of saying Luka looks hurt. Luka looks hurt to me. He was bad at the free throw line yesterday. He was bad shooting the ball in general yesterday. But it looks like that knee that he's laboring up and down. Gafford's playing out of his mind for the Mavs. I thought Kyrie was pretty good yesterday. But this Thunder team is just, they're beating people up. Like they're physical. And they're playing like a brand of ball that looks different than everybody else. So, I mean, yeah, there were 2 beatdowns yesterday. But there's some quality ball being played in these NBA playoffs right now.
Yeah, you look at the Celtics. When I look at the Celtics, I mean, I think they had the best record in the regular season. They're a better team than the Cavs. Will they choke it late? That's always a question with the Celtics. Every year they find a way to choke it late. You can look at right now, you can look at the Mavs game and the Thunder game and tell me how many points Kyrie scored and Luka, and I can tell you who won the game. If Kyrie scored 20 and Luka had scored 19, they lost. And I know that. And you look at the Thunder right now, to me, it's bench points. I mean, you doubled the other team in bench points, 40-20. You're young. Shai Gilgeous, my opinion, top 10 player in the NBA. His bag is as deep as anybody. I think the Mavs series will go. I think the Celtics are just going to run the Cavs. It might be a sweep.
Yeah, and the Thunder offensive rebounding too. I mean, these guys crash. They're playing a college style in the NBA. That's really what it is. If you watch the way they play, it's a little bit different than everybody else, and it's fun to watch.
All right, to the Stanley Cup playoffs. Rangers 4-3 in double overtime over the Hurricanes. Heartbreaker there if you had the Canes.
Yeah.
Rangers take a 2-0 series lead, and then in the other game, game 1, Avalanche beat the Stars 3 on the road.
The Stars went up 3-0 in the first period and just choked it.
Wasn't enough. 2 overtime
just
games.
Choked. Bad day for Dallas yesterday. Bad day for Dallas. Mavericks losing. Stars blowing a 3-0 lead. I mean, you got to give credit to the Avs. I mean, I had the over yesterday. I'm glad that happened, the way it did. But then you look at this Rangers-Kane series. I know the numbers on teams that go up 2-0. Canes are going back home for 2. Don't be shocked if this one goes 7. Don't be shocked at all if this one goes 7. I do want to say Shesterkin yesterday for the Rangers was incredible.
He's awesome, man.
He was incredible. I mean, he had more shots than Kid Rock's bar down on Broadway that going at him last night. I know, you ended up giving up 3, but he blocked. At one point, it was like there was 48 shots and like quality shots. Talking about like one-on-ones where he's stopping, and then he stops one and stops another deflection. But the Rangers, they needed to get those 2 at home.
Yeah.
Go back to Carolina. Dallas, I mean, you got to feel, you can't blow 3-0 leads. You can't do it. Whether it's game 1, whether it's game 7, especially when you're at home, you can't do it. And you got shut out, and you got to give credit, obviously, to the Avs, putting the stopper on the faucet for the last 2 periods. But no, man, it was fun to watch last night. Too close.
All right, to the NFL, the Titans signed Tyler Boyd to a 1-year, $4.5 million contract. Sort of breaks up that big 3 that the Bengals had there. But now the Titans. I mean, look at some of the weapons here that Will Levis is going to have at quarterback. Tyler Boyd now. You add him with DeAndre Hopkins, Calvin Ridley, Tony Pollard at running back. You do lose Derrick Henry, so the offense is going to look different. But that's a nice wide receiver trio.
Well, there's going to be no excuses for Will Levis. Right, you've got a year in, you're the guy, right? They're putting you in a position where, do you have the best wide receiver core in the NFL? No, but you have a way more, and again, you have Treylon Burks too. You have a way more adequate wide receiver core than what you've had in the past there at Tennessee. So looking at Will, again, you've got to watch the turnovers. You can't go out there and go crazy, but there's no excuses this year. And if you're a Titans fan, you got to be a little bit excited about what you're seeing. So it was a nice move getting Tyler Boyd, an experienced wide receiver. You look around, all these guys are experienced. I mean, D-Hop getting towards the end of his career a little bit. Tyler is older, was there with Joe Burrow, who was a young quarterback that he, helped. And Tyler Boyd, he's kind of like the Tyler Lockett of the Bengals, right? Your veteran guy that
Tyler Lockett, Seahawks.
No, he is they're similar. Like Tyler Boyd was to Joe Burrow what Tyler Lockett has been to Seattle's quarterbacks. Kind of a consistent guy that's there, an older guy that's there. I think he can be that for Will Levis.
Tyler Boyd reminds me of Doug Baldwin.
Yeah,
y'all remember Doug Baldwin for the Seahawks? I mean, he'll always be a Bengal to me because, man, he was just, you want to talk about just surrounded by phenomenal talent and just a consistent guy.
Yeah.
In and out, the kind of a safe haven for Joe. But, man, the Titans going to be interesting. I don't believe in Will Levis yet.
Me either.
I don't know why I would.
Me either.
He's shown some signs, but it's an every week thing, man, in the NFL. So
he can sling the pill, that's for sure.
He also puts mayonnaise in his coffee, so I don't trust anybody who does that.
All right, Micah Parsons. Did you see Micah Parsons sumo wrestling?
Yeah, I got an interesting thought on this, David.
Play this.
See him going. Watch this sumo guy. Nope. Nope.
Sign him up at left tackle, man.
Nope. I don't want to be the...
Hold on, what's C.J. Stroud doing in there?
Yeah, I don't want to be the fun police here. Like, and you can see him, the sumo guy cradling.
Is that C.J. Stroud? We don't need the quarterback in here sumo wrestling.
No. Look at him. Stuffed him. Stuffed him. This is what I do. Krav Maga.
There's some movement. There's some movement. Yeah.
Here. And again, love guys getting after it in the offseason, having fun. If I'm the Cowboys, though, we're paying you too much to do this. What are you doing? Like, you're one, that sumo wrestler wants to, he'll flip you over and break your back or break an ankle. Like, the Cowboys, y'all's ass disappeared in the playoffs, disappeared on defense, absolutely disappeared. Micah disappeared, nowhere to be found, back of a milk carton. Go ahead and get hurt doing sumo wrestling stuff in the offseason. And I know you can get hurt doing leg press, you can get hurt walking up the steps, but if I'm Jerry Jones and I'm paying you all these millions of dollars, I don't want you out there going up against sumo wrestlers. You know what I don't want you doing? Going out there, getting stronger, yes, but being healthy to be able to go back and finally do something in the postseason, right, in Dallas. So, I don't want to be the fun police. It's a fun video and this, that, and the other.
You're the no fun.
But if I'm a Cowboys
fan,
you're
totally the no fun.
It'd be hard to explain that injury, though. That's a good point. I mean, you get injured in that's hard to.
And CJ Stroud.
How are you going to address Cowboy Nation? Yeah, CJ, I need you out of there.
Yeah, if I'm D'Amico Ryans, I'm like, hey, get him out. You better just be eating sushi or something, buddy, and watching. Like, you get out.
Why are we intermingling with in-state rivals? First off.
Yeah. Well, look, rich guys hang out together. Just go to the yacht club.
Well, that's true.
All right. Greg Doyle. Dave,
you see Greg Doyle? The Indianapolis Star has suspended Greg Doyle over his comments to Caitlin Clark. My question is, why did it even have to come to that? Why haven't we suspended this guy years ago for being an absolute clown? But
speaking about Chuck E. Cheese and being a sting operation.
And he's banned from Caitlin Clark.
You know how creepy you have to be banned from think about that. How are you not fired? Like, and Greg Doyle, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, from what I've seen and people that I trust and know, not a good guy. And listen, I think he should be let go. I think the Star keeping him is an embarrassment.
If you have to suspend somebody
for being creepy,
to going to a women's basketball game, you have to fire him.
How
do you not fire him?
Sounds like it's a 2-week suspension.
But he's banned from
Caitlin Clark's games.
Caitlin Clark's games. Banned. Somebody needs to check this man's basement.
That's like hiring a guy to be a school bus driver who can't go 300 feet next to a playground.
Yeah, this dude's. Get this guy out of here. What a creep.
That makes no sense.
What an absolute creep. Speaking about creeps, all right, you don't want to face the IRS without a professional help.
What a transition.
Yeah, it's not a smart move. And our friends over at Tax Network USA, they've got you covered. They've got pros. You know, speaking of CJ Stroud, speaking of Micah Parsons, these are the CJ Strouds and Micah Parsons of the tax game. We know whether you have unfiled taxes, whether you have back taxes, that stuff can weigh on your mind. And we know the IRS has become more determined than ever. They just hired 87,000 more of them. 87,000 more of them.
Wow.
All right? Which there's no trust there. Y'all know how we feel about that. But you need to contact Tax Network USA if you're in a pickle, all right, for the best strategic advice to help reduce or even eliminate your tax debt. You can call them today, 1-800-245-6000, or visit their website at tnusa.com/booster. That's BOOSTER. They'll give you a free private consultation on how you can settle your tax debt today. That's tnusa.com/booster. All right. We're going to get off my lawn after we bring in Coach Jacob Peeler, wide receiver coach at Missouri. Coach, can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me, guys?
Man, I can hear you. First off, man, thanks for hopping on. I know, your guys' schedule, especially at that level, is absolutely nuts, and we appreciate you joining us this morning. And, Coach, I want to start, obviously with you guys in Missouri coming off a huge year last year. Y'all have totally flipped the script there. I know people are really excited. Can you just talk about the level of excitement right now at Missouri, not only, throughout the fan base, but you guys as coaches and players behind closed doors, how excited you are to get out and build on that big year last year, especially the way that it ended?
Yeah, obviously, coming off of a Cotton Bowl win and 11 wins, every year's a new year, right? You're always trying to figure out your team and figure out what you're going to have, and again, just to kind of recap, last year, obviously we were able to stay healthy in some key areas, which was huge. And obviously, win some close games. The Kansas State game, hitting the 61-yard field goal.
Yeah.
Florida, able to, win that one at the very end with a kick, and we converted a 4th and 17. At the very end there to win a couple close games down the stretch. I think that's always a belief thing too. You start to win some of those close games where you rewind a year before, we lost several close ones. So that part is going to be a huge part of your success, right? But no, from last year, obviously, not to be coach speak, but again, your new year, you got a new group of guys. We lost 6 guys to the NFL draft, which was tremendous, for those guys and for our program, and just showing, to your point, the direction that we're headed in under Coach Drink. And but again, we got some big pieces to fill, but again, we're excited about the opportunity to see what this group can do. So we got some really important pieces back offensively, especially, and even on the other side of the ball as well. But I'm excited to see what these guys can do this year.
And Coach, at the position that you coach, wide receiver, everybody thinks, obviously, catching the ball, getting it to Luther Burden, watching him run what looks like 400 miles per hour on the field, and everybody else is in mud. But I think one of the things that separates you guys and your position group is y'all's ability to do everything, right? It's the blocking on the outside. It's understanding the coverage that you're getting in front of you, how to stem guys, right? It's the little things. Can you just talk about, how you approach, catching the ball's fun, scoring touchdowns is fun, making the one-hand catch is fun, but it's the stuff on the outside that turns 20-yard runs into 70-yard runs, and putting, Brady Cook and the guys in that quarterback room in the best position to be able to have everything available. Can you just talk about the things on the periphery? Because I don't think people talk about that enough.
Yeah, obviously, you hit the nail on the head there. For us, we call it, back to basics, essentially. The things that doesn't take talent, it just takes want to and basically desire. For us, we have the saying, no block, no rock. And for us last year, there were some opportunities, especially early. I'm going to be honest, you saw the stretch of Cody Schrader down, at the end of the year where he was playing out of his mind, our running back. Well, early in the year, we had some opportunities to spring him on some bigger plays, and I challenged my guys to your point. We gotta be, obviously from an unselfish standpoint, but the gift of the game is perimeter blocking and being able to, do our job out there to spring a 5 or 6 yard run that may turn into a 55-yard touchdown run. And I really, down the stretch, our guys really, really started buying into that mindset, and you saw some explosive runs that were starting to happen on the perimeter. But for us, again, it's the foundation pieces. It's not always the probably lack of a better term, the sexy stuff. It's the just getting down and doing whatever the job it entails. And so we got a really unselfish group. I'm fortunate, we were able to bring in a guy by the name of Theo Weiss from the University of Oklahoma, and just an old savvy vet. He kind of was mentored by CeeDee Lamb, who's now with the Cowboys, and obviously he got to see how to do it. And I had a young group, and I needed somebody that could come in and do that. And I think he kind of showed the way. We in our program, Coach Drinks talks about doing more than what's expected, and that's the stuff that you just don't see on Saturdays. That's the stuff you're doing at 6 a.m.s on Mondays and 5:30s on Fridays. And I think just those guys and the time they put in to do that, and the little nuances like you talked about, whether it's releases, whether it's stems, whether it's top of the route, all the little details that come into a play and make an average play into a great play. Those are the things that you work on, this time of year when we're not even around, and you got a veteran group that's done it and seen, the good and the bad. It's always helpful to have, multiple coaches within the room. When your players are coaching each other up, you got a chance to be successful. And that's what we kind of saw last year, was just an unselfish group, but also a group that was willing to be coachable and not always just want to hear what they did well, but they wanted to know how they could be better.
Yeah. No block, no rock. Coaches have the best sayings ever. And I
that.
think, unselfish is the word he used. And Coach, you know obviously what I think of you and how much respect I have for you, but I think that's the best compliment. And Blaine, you played the position. You played the wide receiver position. The best compliment you can give a wide receiver coach is to go out there and, for lack of a better term, block your ass off and do the stuff that's not sexy.
It's effort. That's all it is. It's effort and want to. Exactly. Like, there's nothing better than selflessness as a receiver.
Yeah.
I really believe that.
Good
Yeah.
idea.
Coach, you had the great fortune to help develop A.J. Brown and DK Metcalf both while at Ole Miss, and those guys are just playing at such an elite level in the NFL. Do you have any good stories for us, or maybe some fun facts that people in the public may not know about those guys?
Yeah, obviously had a great opportunity. Got to spend 3 years with them, and just getting to see them grow and come in as kids essentially, and just again, DK was actually on our campus. Probably it was last month. We had our pro day, and he flew in. So obviously, just the relationship piece is one of the biggest things. Those guys they trusted each other and they trusted me, and it was just a lot, like said, in that room. But those guys, they were pros from day one. And one story that really sticks out to me. We had played 11 a.m. kick, and I can't remember the opponent, but sometimes you get that SEC network at 11 a.m. and you always worry about your guys. We stayed about 45 minutes away, our team hotel from the stadium. It was a home game, and so you're always worried about just starting fast. And DK actually had one of his better games for that season. I think he had 100-something yards, a touchdown, made a tremendous catch. But I always remember he had a drop, right? And that's the kid that I knew at that point that the kid was different. So I'm at my house. It's probably about 5 or 6 o'clock at night, and I'm just watching college football like everybody else does. We won the game, and so just getting to relax a little bit and watch everybody else stress out, play their games at night. And I get a text message from DK, and he said, "Hey, Coach, are you at home?" And so I just pick up the phone and call him immediately. I'm thinking, okay, Saturday night, we just won, home game, something's wrong, right? And I just call him, pick up the phone and call him. And he's like, "No, everything's good." He said, "Do you care if I get your ID?" Because our indoor, they shut it off. You had to have access through a key card, and they shut it off. And, I was able to open it up. And he asked for my key card, so he had a drop that day. And he went up there about 6:30 at night on a Saturday and just caught jugs by himself because he had a drop that day. And that, again, we're talking about a redshirt freshman, trying to do the little things like that. And, ultimate pro, where guys, again, they don't see that stuff. They see the flashy stuff on Saturdays, but they don't see the work and the things that it takes to be great. And, another thing that always sticks out was, every Sunday night we play on Saturdays, and on Sunday nights we would do a team meal. Well, that group, they would come in, they grab their food, and they would come into the wide receiver room, and all they would do was watch, their favorite NFL guys like Julio Jones. A.J. Brown was a huge Julio Jones fan. And so we had all these cut-ups, these NFL cut-ups and these NFL highlights, and whether it was YouTube or whatever it may be. But again, those guys they were eating up with the process. They were eating up with just trying to be the best version of themselves, but just honestly trying to be great. But they were pros way before they were pros in terms of their approach. And day to day, you didn't really have to, when you're a receiver and you run all day, every day, sometimes you have to poke the bear to get them going a little bit. Yeah. But those guys, they literally brought it, man. And obviously the success that they've had, AJ's just signed that new deal on draft night to be the highest paid receiver in the history of the game. I mean, things like that is so cool for for me as their former coach, for a guy that's their fan now, to get to sit back and watch the success. But again, I'll be the first to say I was very fortunate, to get to coach those guys, and, to see them be successful is awesome for me.
Well, that's awesome.
Attitude reflects leadership. And I mean, you put that type of want to in the physical freak show bodies those guys have, that's hell's coming with you.
Yeah, I agree. And Coach, where does Luther Burden rank among those guys, in your opinion? Yeah,
Luther, man, obviously tremendous player, tremendous kid. He is, as a coach, sometimes you always hear about competitive character and for Luther, the thing that he does, man, you see a kid that is pretty quiet, right? Like throughout the week, he's about his business. He's not the most loud vocal guy maybe in the room. Even sometimes on the practice field, he's going to do his work and super quiet. And then all of a sudden on game day, man, it's like he morphs into I don't know. It's just like this freak show kid, man. Like, he really does. Like he just has that competitive character that is off the charts. And you get to see the yards after catch, the things that he does so well. For him, that was one thing. Going back to AJ, AJ was so gifted after the catch. I used to kind of compare him like to an old school running back, and that's what Luther does. You get the ball in Luther's hands, and you better watch out. He has that refusal for the first guy to make the tackle. We make that a big point in our room. We say there's no rule in football that the first guy has to tackle you, and we challenge our guys every year and every day to work on their yaks and yards after catch. But he is so tremendous with the ball in his hands and has progressed. Obviously, as a true freshman, it's hard to play in this league. You're going to see a ton of press coverage, and you're going against grown men, right? First round draft picks every single day, even in practice. We had 2 corners that were drafted this last year, and it's hard to play wide out, especially early in the career. That's what guys struggle with the most, is just getting off a press consistently. And we threw him to the fire as a true freshman, and he had his struggles like everybody does, and he had success along the way too. And I think that was really good for him to just have to persevere through that. And then obviously this last year we moved into the slot, and he really took off. And again, just a tremendous kid. Again, a guy that just loves the work, and you're seeing that product on Saturdays.
Man, that play against Kansas State where he just angles don't exist for this. It's you look at like Hollywood Brown, some of these smaller wide receivers that are, Xavier Worthy that's incredibly fast. Luther Burden is not small, and he is. I can't wait to see what he runs at the combine, because it's going to be incredible. Man. Coach, I know you got to run here in a second. I do got to ask you. It looks a whole heck of a lot of fun to be able to coach under a guy like Eli Drinkwitz. It seems like you guys get after it. Obviously, you guys are emotional about winning, but you handle it the right way. Can you just talk about being able to coach with a guy like Coach Drink and how much fun that's got to be?
Yeah, man, Coach Drink is, first off, a tremendous leader. Again, I owe a ton to him. He took a chance on me, and not to get too sentimental, but he took a chance on a guy ultimately he didn't know. He had gotten my name, and we both probably on blind faith, and went on that journey together. But what a tremendous leader. Again, a guy that just knows how to rally the troops. And again, you see the products that you saw last year in the growth and the development of our team and the culture is a testament to him. He is a tremendous person outside of being a tremendous coach, extremely smart. Again, the guys really respond to him. And I think in our level, and especially in today's world of college football, transparency and ability to admit, that this deal is in sync with each other. It's not about what we say, it's about doing it together and being open to listening to the team. I think that's something that stands out. Like he has open dialogue, and he allows the team to have a voice. And if you earn that opportunity, he gives a ton of I'm linking the word, but basically he gives a lot of ownership to the team and the leaders, and allows them to speak. And that's something I think that stands out about him, is just his ability to do that. But obviously he has done a tremendous job at the University of Missouri, since he was hired. And obviously last year was a great product of that.
Yeah, well, you guys look like you're having a whole heck of a lot of fun, and it's a whole heck of a lot of fun when you're winning too. Coach, typically I tell guests, thanks for getting up with us, but I know the business you're in, you've been up working for a couple hours already, so I appreciate you taking some time with us this morning, man. Best of luck. We're rooting for you guys over there, and again, thanks so much for joining us, and I guess I'll see you at the Jake convention later in the year.
Appreciate you for having me, man. Absolutely, and anything y'all need from me, reach out.
Appreciate it. One of the best in the business. Jacob Peeler at Missouri. You can see, you get a little insight into why Missouri's doing the things that they're doing. When you have men leading young men like that, it's, that's why I think football is the greatest teacher of life. And what you do off the field is going to manifest itself on the field. Not that anybody's perfect, and nobody's saying that, but you can just tell, listen to those stories, listen to the way that they're all in together, why Missouri's able to go do the things.
See it on the field.
Yeah, you see it on the field.
Translates
it manifests
to the field,
itself on the field. But something that you won't see is how much information there is on you on the internet about you. All right, and with DeleteMe, I'm telling you, Google yourself. I don't care if you do a sports show. I don't care if you're an accountant. I don't care if you crunch the numbers at a bakery or whatever. There is information, whether it's addresses, phone numbers, heck, even social security numbers, that the data brokers and the hackers out there, they sell it. You wonder why I'm getting all these random emails from people, how they got my email, how they got my information. Well, it lives online. It will literally shock you. If you don't believe me, just Google yourself, and it will surprise you more than you thought. But with DeleteMe, whether it's your name, contact info, social security number, they take care of it. They send you a report. It's time to take control and protect your personal information. With DeleteMe, it's a hands-free subscription service that removes personal info from being sold online. Like I said, you'll get that report in 7 days, and they'll remove your personal info every 3 months. So take control of your data and keep your private life private by signing up for DeleteMe now with a special discount for our listeners today. All right, you can get 20% off your DeleteMe plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/CRAIN. Use promo code CRAIN at checkout. That's the only way to get 20% off. It's joindeleteme.com/CRAIN, and you enter that same code CRAIN at checkout. Joindeleteme.com/Crane with promo code Crane. Get that info off the internet.
Bless you,
Dave. Private, live, private. But David, it's Wednesday.
Yeah.
And with the new cool Crane, the Crane and Co. Jumbotron. Somebody's dancing on your lawn, and they need to get off. Who's G'ing off your L today?
Gilbert Arenas needs to get off my lawn. This week, Timberwolves center Rudy Gobert missed a playoff matchup against the Nuggets for the birth of his first child. This drew criticism from former NBA All-Star Gilbert Arenas, who said, "It's a baby, bro. It's going to be there when you get back." Now, when the fruit hangs this low, I have to grab it. Gilbert, you missed 50 games at the height of your career for pulling a gun on a teammate over a gambling dispute. You're in no position to criticize someone else for missing games, especially not for the birth of their child. Now, Get Off My Lawn values fairness, so I feel compelled to mention that Agent Zero did donate $100 to local schools for every home point he scored during the 2006 season, but he is off target here. The 3 most important days of my life were the days my children were born. That experience changes you as a human being. It changes you as a man. And it's not just about being there for your child, but for your wife, who is bringing life into this world. Sometimes circumstances dictate that guys cannot be present. Many men serve our country overseas. They're unable to get home. Some pregnancies end prematurely, and timing is a factor. But what's most important is making your family a priority. And in no other profession is this even a conversation. If Bob the billionaire, CEO, stayed at the office while his wife gave birth across the street, that would be met with a negative response. Why should the standard be different for professional athletes? Now, I am of the opinion that after your kid is born, it's time to get to work and provide for them. I cannot support this 6 months of paternity leave mentality that so many share today. And hopefully we won't see anything like that from Rudy Gobert, because right now I have more respect for the man. The same goes for Scottie Scheffler, who said last month he would withdraw from the Masters if his wife went into labor. We need more superstars like this who have established values, guys who understand their children leave longer legacies than trophies, and redemption for missing that moment cannot be found in a stat line. So Gilbert Arenas, for today at least, you have to get off my lawn.
Beautiful, David.
Facts, Dave.
Beautiful. And, I think this speaks to a bigger problem. I think Gilbert Arenas encapsulates what's wrong with society right now and the breaking up of the nuclear family because you act like a child being born is no big deal, like it's more important than a basketball game. Are you kidding me? And then we wonder why so many of the youth nowadays go out and the crime rate's incredible and they have no direction. It's because guys like Gilbert Arenas think that a basketball game is more important than the birth of a child. Now, I don't have a child yet. We're working on it right now. But at the end of the day, I don't care if on this show the president was coming on, or Michael Jordan was coming on, or LeBron James was coming on. If my wife gives birth, I'm going to be there not only for that child, but for her. So to Gilbert Arenas, your priorities are messed up. And like you said, your dumbass is the one that pulled a gun on one of your teammates. So I don't want any life advice from Gilbert Arenas. Rudy Gobert is 3 times the man that Gilbert Arenas will ever be. There's a reason why you didn't win it, buddy. And Rudy Gobert, I think, just won his 4th Defensive Player of the Year award. And the Timberwolves won the game that he wasn't there. So Gilbert Arenas, shut up and go keep being racist.
We should play the video at least, though. Do we have Gilbert Arenas saying this? Because my question for you is, like, I wonder, is there a part of this that was tongue-in-cheek, or is this just how Gilbert Arenas
No, if you see what he said about white guys in the NBA, it's that Gilbert Arenas reaches for clicks because he's not relevant anymore. The only time he really was relevant is when he pulled a gun on his teammate. Let's go ahead and play this clip.
You're missing this game for that baby. I see you.
It's the baby, bro. It's gonna be there when you get back. We hope.
Right.
We hope.
I mean, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. The baby gonna be
okay, but unnecessary.
The baby gonna. It don't know. Whatever you about to think you about to do with the baby, he gonna be asleep.
Need that skin-to-skin contact.
Okay, you get skin-to-skin in 2 days.
Right on the titty. The whole time, right on the titty.
Like I said,
need some milk.
Like I get you want to be with your wife and smile and stuff, and your good NBA healthcare insurance.
Right.
It's because of you playing.
Right. Trust me, they got everything.
That's
What a clown.
such a low-resolution explanation.
What a clown.
For the birth of your kid to me.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, just an absolute. We hope.
The fact that they're up there all laughing about it.
Yeah, it's just that. What a clown show. People wonder why. People wonder why.
But seriously, would you ever see this in another profession?
No, never.
Like, and it's not, and it could still be rich people. That's why I said, like, a billionaire, Fortune 500 CEO.
Like, dude, I mean, if anything, I ought to be there, like, for my wife.
Yeah.
Like, it just goes to show you how stupid some people just are. It's the truth. And I'd say that to your face. I don't care if you're 6'6", dog. I don't care. I promise you. I went to Opelika High School, buddy. I ain't afraid of you. Let's go ahead and go to the phone line.
Oh, my goodness. It's getting aggressive over there.
Well, I just think that just encapsulates what's wrong with grown men nowadays. It's a game. It's a game, dude. So let's go to the phone lines.
All right. We got Josh on the line in North Carolina, so I'm going to skip him, and we're going to go to Matthew in Arkansas. Matthew, what's going on, man?
What is up, y'all? It is the Heartbroken Hog here. David, I really appreciate you skipping Voltar. That is a smart move there.
You're welcome.
But I wanted to talk to you guys about, did you hear about the MLB player who is coming to play football for Arkansas?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Monte
Harrison. He was a 4-star wide receiver recruit in the 2014 class. Played professional baseball.
I bet he's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been a lot of Arkansas fans throwing hate on this and being like, oh, my God, a 28-year-old coming to play football. What's wrong with the program? I'm looking at this like this is a grown man professional athlete coming to play against 19 and 20-year-olds. I think this guy could be pretty good.
Yeah, you ever hear of Chris Winkie?
Yeah, Brandon.
Look, dog, we just need 1 year.
Years old, Heisman.
Look, Dylan Gabriel's 30.
Yeah, we just need 1 year. Look, shit, Sam's trying everything.
Yeah.
What else you want him to do?
Let's try everything.
Everything.
Yeah, I mean, wide receiver was a position where we didn't have anyone who could create real separation last year, it seemed like, other than Andrew Armstrong and Luke Haas, who went down early in the year. We need an explosive NFL-level receiver, and I think this guy could be it.
Well, look, if all of a sudden some dude shows up with a mustache on the Arkansas baseball team for the run in Omaha, Dante Harrison, suddenly gets eligible.
Let's not ask too much out of the 30-year-old. All right, let's just go have a good year. Just go have a good.
What? Matthew? How many games does Sam Pittman have to win? You think to keep his job?
7. I think he needs to go 7-6 at least.
God, Arkansas is
I
just
think if
falling
he was
off
to
the
go
roller
6-6 and lose the bowl game, I think the end of the season will be.
God,
I just think that if he has to say he has to win 7 to keep his job, there's a lot more things that are wrong than just Sam Pittman.
I agree with that. And I mean, look, I'm not saying Arkansas needs to go out and win the national championship, but if we're over here like 7 wins,
it's in year 2.
We can get to 7.
You know,
like we can do this.
It's the fact that it would be a winning season as opposed to a losing season.
But I mean, that's where we're at with all this money. It's being pumped in the Arkansas.
Hey, y'all go 7-6. They're going to get a huge bowl ring.
Money, they better go out and
Matthew,
have at least a winning season.
Y'all go 7-6. You're going to get a championship-sized bowl ring.
Sure. You may just get like a bodysuit that's a ring.
They're going to do that again.
That was bad. And people were getting on Florida State for the 13-0 rings. It's like, we got a 7-6.
Yeah, let's not go down that road again.
Hey, Arkansas basketball. Cal got someone else to come over from Kentucky.
Yeah,
can't remember his name.
The Razor Cats or the Wildbacks or something.
The Wildbacks.
I don't know if I'm ready to see Cal coach Arkansas back.
I am. I'm so ready for this. Is like a Donnie Darko.
It's going to be so weird. It's going to be so
situation.
Strange just to see him in those colors.
All right. Well, y'all have a good one.
All right, Matt.
All right, buddy. All right, Bill Clinton.
All right. Voltar hung up. Now he's called back in. Let's see. Voltar, I was just kidding, man. How you doing today?
I didn't hang up. Somebody dropped the call.
They hung up on you?
Whoa.
Wow.
Whoa. It's like Deion Sanders in Colorado. It's personal.
It feels
wow. Is it purse?
So I'm in the dark room again. I see Trey left an uneaten box of pizza in the corner. Matthew had a sweaty, like, Arkansas shirt. So it doesn't smell great here, but, here I am. Anyways, I don't understand why my teams always do this to me. They just always just give me hope, and hope is the most dangerous thing you can give to a young man who just wants to see his team just win something.
A boy's dream.
But I will say, I mean, it was a great game last night. I mean, Shesterkin almost, I think, 60 saves. That's just
incredible.
I just hope they can bounce back and win, game 3. That'll give us some momentum.
They will.
I'm taking them. I'm taking them.
I don't feel bad.
Canes at
Canes
home.
Fans.
I'm taking
I'll
them.
never feel bad for fans who root for natural disasters.
So the Miami football team, you're
oh, God, he hates Iowa State.
Yeah, you hate Iowa State, man.
And Tulane, can't stand them.
There's got to be a tsunami out there somewhere.
Yeah, Tulane, Green Wave.
Oh, Green Wave, yeah.
I did want to the Panthers, the Carolina Panthers draft for a second.
Yeah.
Just to get y'all's opinion, because I heard some of your opinions, but wasn't talked about much. But I was a little confused because we did retool the offensive line over the offseason. I think we spent like over $100 million on two guards, and then we got our right tackle Taylor Moore in, and then we're also moving one of our guards, Corbett, to center. So really the only offensive line position I'm really worried about is the left tackle from State, Icky. And then we drafted basically all offense and had a little bit of defensive help. But, I mean, I think we did the right thing because, I mean, we retooled the offensive line. We got Bryce some weapons that he needed. So, I mean, I'm just curious, like, what y'all's thoughts were on the draft.
I like them getting Xavier Legette.
Y'all still gonna be trash next year for sure. But I mean, you got better. I think Xavier Legette's a good piece. Jonathan Brooks from Texas is a good piece. Jatavion Sanders, tight end from Texas, huge. And I think Michael Barrett from Michigan, the linebacker, was really good.
Well, I thought for the first time in a while, outside of picking Bryce Young, who I believe in, the Panthers made some smart moves.
Yeah.
I thought, which, again, at the end of the day, that's all you can ask for. I just wonder if David Tepper walked around and he tried to get any more restaurants to pick up signs. That's all I'm asking.
That was weird, man.
he tried to kick me out of the house the other day. I mean, that's how it's going in Carolina.
Well, you need to stop peeping in the windows, Josh.
Yeah, you're in the Booster Club room of darkness, man.
Yeah.
The ROD.
Yeah.
You're in the rod right now.
Well, good luck. Canes will even the series up. It'll be 2-2 going back to New York.
I hope so. All right, well,
it will.
Thank you, guys.
All right,
Y'all
buddy.
have a great day.
See you, man. All right, let's stay in New York. We got Steven on the line. Steven, talk to us.
New York, this is North Carolina, so don't ever.
Don't ever call North Carolina.
Come to my house, you get my wife's name right.
I never want to be associated with those stupid Rangers fans. I almost said the hard R word, but
that's that's what we call in the biz quality adjustment.
Yeah, and first off, I got to talk to Jake for a little bit.
Uh-oh.
Because yesterday you told me what kind of guy I should be. Now, I do know that you know a lot about guys since you like to ride them, since you sing in the Gay Men's Choir. So, but I appreciate your comments, Jake.
Yeah.
And just know, F you.
Steven, I feel like you're like sneaking, like you're like
Steven, you just sound like you're about to look at somebody and say this isn't hockey pads.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Well, I'm currently at work in the shop, so
that'll boy.
I just want to ask y'all, can the Canes do it? Can we come back?
Yeah.
Because right now, I'm looking for the nearest cliff to jump off of after last night.
I firmly believe that this will be 2-2 heading back to New York, and then it'll end up being best of 3. I mean, you guys have watched enough playoff hockey. You know how this goes. And it wasn't like you just got your ass beat twice in a row. You lost, what, 4-3, 4-3? Like it goes back-to-back 4-3?
It's just the needed penalties that we get.
Yeah.
Like, Shea last night getting the roughing penalty, and then that ultimately ending the night for us. And then I can't remember another penalty that we got, but we went 0 for 5 on power play, which is wild because we were the third best power play team in the league in the regular season and the second best penalty kill team in the regular season. And now in the playoffs, it's just like it's all gone away. So,
well, that's why you play a series. And look, sometimes you got to lay down and bleed a little while, but you're going back home. We know that atmosphere is going to be nuts. The players understand, the urgency of what's going on, and you have experience. Like nobody's going to panic, nobody's going to be overwhelmed. So no cliffs, right? No tall buildings. Just stay in the shop, do what you got to do. Let's regroup and get back.
And let the Rangers mascot go.
Let him go. And believe me, David knows all about.
Or don't. It's very
David knows all about keeping mascots hostage.
It's very cathartic. Put him in the basement.
He's currently in my basement, and Jake, you have a spot waiting for you too.
Oh, good. Add to the list.
Boy. I love it.
All right.
Steve, we're cool, right? Great call, dude.
Yeah, no, it's actually Blaine's the one that said it.
Yeah. No, Blaine's the GOAT. Blaine's the greatest. So.
All right.
I tell you what.
I love when Blaine pays.
Chat collusion.
Let's go, Canes.
How much did that cost for your
I love when Blaine pays people to call
You'll never know. Hey, Drew, I'll send that wire later.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking at my bank account right now.
You're not getting
I'll send that wire later.
Thanks, Steven.
Great call, Steven.
From North Carolina.
Yeah, what did I say? Did I not say North Carolina?
New York.
New York, dude.
I said New York?
You said New York. That's what
he almost got killed.
He was like Steven almost just dropped in here with a parachute.
I thought he was just going to say out of Gotham and hang up the phone.
Yeah, now I'm questioning how many times I'm sitting here looking at North Carolina with Voltar's name, and let's stay in North Carolina, go to the next caller, and I said New York?
You said New York.
Now I have to question how many times I've done that. Like how many times I for sure thought I said the right word.
Well, I'm glad he had the balls to correct it, because some people have been like, oh, hey, well, it's me, Steven.
Well, Steve, I wish he was still on the line. Steven, I owe you an apology, sir. That's
big IOU.
You got to focus up, man. It's Wednesday. We got to focus up.
Money? This is an IOU.
Yeah, that's $250,000.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go to King Don in Little Rock. Is that all factual there, King Don?
Well, the pronunciation's a little iffy, but other than that, you're okay.
Yeah.
Low Rock.
King Don.
I'd say your parents.
No, it's my name. My name's a little funny. It's no big deal. But anyways, I got a main purpose of the call, and I got a quick trivia question for y'all. So
go ahead.
Which NFL team, I can't remember what year it was, lost an official game against a Canadian football team? Like an actual official game. It counts in the record books and whatnot.
How old ago? How long ago was
like?
it?
I mean, what are we talking like a long time ago in a galaxy far away?
It happened in like the 70s. I'm pretty sure it's in the Super Bowl era.
I'll say it was.
I'm gonna say the Buccaneers.
Guys, either the Vikings or the Bears.
Lost to a Canadian
I'll say
team.
Up there near the border. Let's go with the Minnesota Vikings.
Do you think I should pick a team up near the border? I'm trying.
Got to be up there near Canada.
It's just,
give me the Eagles. Give me the. There's a reason they went out and got.
There's got to be someone that the Packers
Don
hate.
always make fun of.
Bears.
Justin Fields when he was on the Bears.
I like what you're doing.
So I feel like this. It always comes back.
That's a safe bet. I'll go Vikings.
I'll go Bears.
And you go Eagles.
Okay.
It is the Buffalo Bills.
Oh, all right.
That makes sense.
Be up there geography.
That makes sense. Not a long way to go. That's a good one,
they
King
lost
Don.
to some team called like the Huskies or whatnot. But
The Kirks.
yeah, that's a little embarrassing. But my main purpose of the call is everyone's doing like draft grades and whatnot, which are kind of dumb because everyone in this entire draft could not get signed by their team again, and they could all end up being busts. But what is y'all's way too early, like top 10 quarterback predictions for this year?
In the NFL? We'll put that whole list out.
We'll put that together, King Don. Let us when we're setting the show up for later in the week. We'll put something like that together for you and tell you, because there's a couple that I can think of off the top of my head, but I want to make sure and dive deep. And look, I can tell you, I think eventually Spencer Rattler's going to.
I'll tell you right now.
Where he was drafted.
I mean, Justin Fields, top 5. Top 5 quarterback in the league.
Top 5 kick returner.
Yeah, wow. Are you thinking Jordan Love's going to be in that top 10 list, King Don?
As long as he doesn't like revert back to where he was at the beginning of the season last year, yes. I hope if he just turns out a little more like Aaron Rodgers-y than he did Brett Favre, because that last throw of the season, that was one of the most Brett Favre things I've ever seen in my life. So if he throws a little more like Aaron Rodgers, I think we'll be fine. But right now, I'm a little nervous, sophomore slump and all that. But I think he can.
Yeah. Well, King Don too, but before you go, we got to ask how exactly to pronounce your name. But I'm excited about the young wide receivers y'all got that kind of developed last year.
Oh, yeah. And we don't even really have a number one wide receiver, and that can be both a blessing and a curse. It's a curse if all your not number one receivers are terrible, but we have a bunch of good, pretty good wide receivers. They'd be like a 2 or 3 on other teams.
Yeah. Well, like we say, what's the best versatility, and you can't double everybody. That's what we always say. But King Don, how do you give us the exact pronunciation?
It's King Don.
No, it's King Din.
King Din.
Why are you just now?
Yeah.
King Din? How long have we known you?
You've been here.
Yeah.
Why is this just now coming out?
Because I've never really cared before, but David just practically brought it up right before I called on.
Yeah, it's David's fault.
King Din.
Yeah, let's all just bash David for the next 12 minutes and 48 seconds.
It is spelled Kingdon, no?
What?
Yeah, it is. It's a little weird. It's like J-Din, where some people spell it with O-N.
Yeah,
German,
what is that? What is that? Serbian? Yeah, it's Serbian for.
Yep.
All right, thanks.
He's dying.
Thanks, King Don.
I bet he's a menace in the classroom.
Oh God.
Oh man, can't contain him. Smarter than the teachers.
Yeah. He's like, actually, it's Pythagoreans here.
Don, what's the answer to this equation? Well, if Justin Fields would have thrown it 6 more times.
Yeah, if you measure the tape with Justin Fields, it comes to a right.
Everything comes back to Justin.
I don't know why you're talking about Justin Fields and
get off the phone line,
King Din. Get off the phone. You go to school.
You're still here.
Go to school, but no, we love you, brother. Be good.
See you, buddy. Have a good day.
Oh, all right. That's it for call-ins today, y'all.
All right, let's get to the Booster Club.
All right, let's go to Donnie T. Donnie, what's up? He says, guys, love the Missouri love and love Coach Peeler. Right now, would you have Brady Cook as one of your Heisman finalists walking into next?
Finalists?
I think he's in that. I think he's in that conversation of like the periphery of being in the Heisman finals. Like, would it surprise you at all if Brady Cook was there? So I think we got it.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think it's a crazy thing. You look at the weapons he has around him. You look at Missouri's schedule. You look at the expectation. He's not going to have to come out of nowhere and have to fight that. Well, I wasn't in the media before, so here I come. He's a household name by now. So, yeah, I don't think that's crazy.
All right, let's go to Johnny Surf Dog. Johnny, what's up? Says after 2021, UGA last 28 of their top 44 players on their two-deep roster, including a record 15 draft picks, 9 seniors, and 4 transfers out, and 22 Kirby Reloaded, and won 15 for the repeat title. What do y'all think about his contract, and what do y'all think Georgia's record will be this year?
I don't want to make a prediction on Georgia's record this year yet, Johnny. You know, we wait until after fall camp. I need to see who gets hurt, who wins what job. But like I said the other day, I'm not a big lifetime contract guy, but I think Kirby Smart is entering the territory of, you know, hey man, let's lock this down for life. Let's put a ring on it for forever. Like every kiss begins with K. Well, every kiss begins with UGA for me. $13 million. I think he's worth every penny. I think he's probably worth more than that. But Georgia's not going anywhere. Like, let's just be real. You gonna be real with him?
Be real with him, son.
I'll be real with him, son. Georgia ain't going anywhere. Them boys ain't going anywhere.
All right, let's go to B-Rad. What's up, brother? He says, will Lincoln Riley have another Heisman QB and a mediocre team?
That's been the movie. I mean, how many times can we see the same? And it's even moved studios. Went from Fox to Warner Brothers. This is the same thing. Oklahoma to USC, the same thing.
Those were mediocre teams, though.
Well, I'm talking about like as a total team. Name one good defense that Lincoln Riley's had.
Well, again, not necessarily having great defenses, but to me, if you win 10 or 11 games, that's not a mediocre team.
Well, I think
this guy wasn't going 6-6 at Oklahoma.
I think when you have Kyler Murray, I think when you have Caleb Williams, I think when you have Baker Mayfield, and you don't win a championship eventually, like at some point, something has to change. Maybe mediocre's not the word, unbalanced.
I mean, I'm thinking about Mark Richt at Georgia had Matt Stafford and DJ Shockley and David.
I think Mark Richt is.
Those were not mediocre teams.
Yeah, like, but
those were really good teams.
If we're
this past year, they had a mediocre.
If Jim Harbaugh didn't win a national championship, would you say he underachieved at Michigan?
That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about mediocre teams. Don't you have a segment called It's Mid?
Yeah.
Like mid is 6-6, 7-5, maybe even 8-4 if you have the Heisman Trophy winner and the rest of the team is just really bad. But like this guy was winning 10 and 11 games, just not winning the national championship in college football to me doesn't mean you're a mediocre team.
Yeah,
I agree. I agree with
and I see what you're saying. I just feel like the teams are so unbalanced in the same way. Maybe the best way to put it is I think it's a mediocre coaching job at the end of the day. Maybe the team's not mediocre, but you would think at some point a defense that he had or the way he went about it philosophically would change enough to where they could finally get over that hump. Maybe my expectation is so high for Lincoln because of what he's and how good of a coach he is offensively. Like, again, when you look at what he does, off the gap scheme run with the power pass and the way he mixes it up and he understands how to go about it. And his offenses are so balanced, you think his team would be balanced at the end of the day, but it's not. So I do get your point. Maybe mediocre team isn't the best word. Maybe it's just there hasn't been that adjustment, so you feel like it's stubborn. Maybe that's the way to put it. But look, you got 3 Heisman winners. Would any of us be shocked if Miller Moss won the Heisman?
Again, those 3 Heisman winners won the Heisman in large part because of Lincoln Riley's coaching. I mean,
offensively, I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, like it wasn't like, he just had they were just the best players to ever walk in there, and they would have won the Heisman no matter who.
I agree with that.
I mean, take Jalen Hurts for instance. Jalen Hurts won a national championship at Alabama. He played much better at Oklahoma because Lincoln Riley got more out of it. Mm-hmm. But those teams at Alabama, you're just not beating them.
Yeah, and look, you make a valid point. My whole thing is you're the head coach. You're not just the offensive coordinator. So it's about the whole team playing well, and then you get your championship. But I think you bring up a valid point. All right, speaking about valid points, hot in betting, nobody's talking about it. 0-0 mindset, nobody's getting overexcited. Let's get to the bets. Here's what I got. Don't think the Pacers can play that well again. I know Halliburton only scored 6, but Siakam and Turner and those guys, TJ McConnell, like for real, like goes nuts. You let TJ McConnell go nuts. Give me the Knicks -4.5 at home tonight. I think they dominate. And then give me the Oilers Canucks over 6. Anytime the Oilers play, I feel like there's going to be a lot of goals scored. The over was good to me last night with the Stars. Let's go ahead and get another 4-3 game. I don't know, maybe even 5-4. That's the way I feel about it. You never feel better about getting the over at 6 when it's 3-3 going to overtime because somebody's got to win. Those are my 2 for tonight, David.
I like them. I'm going double nerfy today. Let's go Cubs, Padres, no runs in the first inning, -125. And then Rangers, A's, no runs in the first inning, -125.
All right, I love it. Yesterday, let's keep on motoring along. I'm going double Rangers bets today. Not hockey. We're talking baseball and who they playing. They're playing the A's. So give me Rangers -1.5 for the first game, +138. For the second game, they have a doubleheader. Give me -1.5, +120.
He might be from Ireland because he's Dublin. Yes, all right, Ace, Cone, Bruins, money line, +145. That'd be huge to go up 2-0, win the first 2 on the road. Then the Oilers, money line. Both the road teams, I believe, tonight. That's -130. All right, let's get these donuts.
All right. If you donated today, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. We're going to start it off with Finley O with an $8 donation. Forgive the nerd question. What effect on their education does being in the portal and transferring have?
Well, it just depends on the amount of credits that you have and whether that new school, what they take. There was the Grayson McCall. Auburn didn't take his major, so he wasn't able to go there situation. A lot of that stuff is handled before you hop in that portal, especially guys that have 1 year left. A lot of them can go take underwater basket weaving if they want, or, addition or whatever it is.
So Auburn tried to land Grayson McCall?
They were in the process of talking to him, but Auburn didn't have his major in what he was doing.
Well, look, let's invent that major. Let's offer that major.
You think that would ever happen at Alabama or Georgia? They would build a brand new building if it meant that they could get one. That's Auburn's problem. We're too worried about school.
What could he have possibly majored in that Auburn doesn't offer?
It was something like that everybody has. Like it was like sports management or something.
Tarot card reading.
It was something. Again, that's our problem. We're too worried about school. I got to stay here all day with Steve.
Foosball. Let's go to a $5 donation from Jack Hogan. Appreciate it, Jack. With the quarterbacks Hugh is working on for the 25 and 26 classes, does he use a red shirt on Walker for this season?
I think he should use a red shirt on Walker. And now you can play like 4 games and still red shirt. So unless, Peyton Thorne gets hurt or, something crazy happens or Peyton Thorne ends up just, Post Malone falling apart and he plays too much where you can't red shirt him, that's one thing. But I think Walker Wright, regardless of if Juju Lewis comes over to Auburn and flips, like a lot of people are saying right now, red shirting is the best thing that can happen to you.
All right, let's go to a $5 donation from SGR. SGR, appreciate it, brother. That applied Jake's mantras yesterday and parlaying Blaine's Nerfy picks. Celebrated with a mint chocolate chip ice cream. # always ride the hot guy.
Always ride the hot guy. Let's make some money.
Love that.
By the way, I didn't tell you this. I went on the radio, my buddy Johnny Radio, and you know how they brought me in? With your song.
No way.
Yeah, they did.
Johnny Radio?
Johnny Radio, yeah.
Man, I got to go look that up. Really?
He said, play that joint.
Wow, Johnny Radio.
All right, $2 donation from Steve Miller. Steve, I love your band. He says, stop writing the hot guy. No more unwanted emails.
So he said, stop writing? Is that what he was saying?
Yeah.
He trips me out, man. He trips me out.
All right, last donation of the day. $5 donation from Steve's Trading Card Friends. We appreciate it, Steve. So is there an update on the legal mumbo jumbo?
We will get you that update off air, Stevie. We appreciate you.
$10 donation.
Oh.
Sammy Caldwell.
Yep.
Off subject. Is anyone doing the Murph Challenge this year?
I'm scared to ask what that is.
I'm looking it up right now.
Is that something off Interstellar? Is it where you hide behind a bookcase and try and get somebody's attention?
I think so.
What, Ryan, do you know what that is?
Murph Challenge.
What is it? What do you have to do?
The Murph Challenge is the official annual fundraiser.
You have to go like...
The grueling test of physical and mental endurance that honors the sacrifice and service of fallen Navy SEAL Lieutenant Michael P. Murphy. The workout consists of a 1 mile run, 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 squats, and another 1 mile run. All done while wearing.
Our buddy Michael at Good Ranchers was doing this. Remember when we were at the Sweet 16?
Look, man, I got everything but the pull-ups.
That's right.
Now.
He was training with like a heavy, a weighted vest on to get ready for this.
Jacked and tan. No, I mean, we'll see. 100 pull-ups. That's tough.
He was explaining it to me, and I got tired.
I'd be like the kid from Little Giants is like doing the pull-ups when he's standing on the crate.
$1 donation from Sky Prize is when y'all going to drink the Gonster. Never.
Ooh.
I'm going to watch Blaine drink it.
Yeah.
Like, they already made me eat a glizzy out of
You
a
barely
beer.
had to eat anything, Blaine.
No. I don't want to hear a word after I had to eat that possessed chip, that demon-possessed chip that was made by old Nazi scientists.
But you lost a bet. That's on you.
Yeah, that was awful.
Football.
It smelled like a unkept pool. It was awful. And I hated it.
I don't even know.
I'm telling you, like this,
I'm worried that thought came in your head.
Yeah, and then I had to put it in my mouth.
You're used to that, aren't you? Clip it. Clip it!
Yeah, it's the hot chip that I'm talking about. All right, get to the poll.
Poll, what quarterback will have a better first year? Garrett Nussmeier, Dylan Raiola, and Nico. I didn't want to type his last name.
Smart. I would say give me Garrett Nussmeier 47%.
Oh, man. How about I go Nico to be different?
All right. I love it when you're being different, but you're being wrong. Garrett Nussmeier, 43%.
Wow.
Nico, 30%. Dylan Raiola.
All right.
Galib, 27%.
Asal Galib.
We appreciate you guys. Shout out to Coach Peeler for calling in. That was a great talk. Our sponsors, Lumen, Tax Network, USA, DeleteMe for today's show. Go check that out. And everybody else that called in. Got a great show for you tomorrow. So make sure you turn in, hit that subscribe button, keep sharing the show. We appreciate it, whether it's audio, whether it's video, or whether it's something I'm not smart enough to understand. And just like the chances of Blaine drinking the Gonster, we're going.
He'll do it.
Gone! That's right, son. That's right, son.
He lost you.
That's right, son.
You got mossed.
Clip that. Clip that.